Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2011 horror sequel, Wrong Turn 4 Bloody Beginnings. The film is co-written and directed by Declan O'Brien, and it stars Sean Skeen, Dan Skeen, Scott Johnson, BJ Varro, Jenny Pudovic, Caitlin Lieb, and Tara Vanessa. Right, okay, this film is a prequel and is initially set in 1974. We are shown like a sanitarium, like a mental hospital, and we meet the three brothers from the first Wrong Turn movie. So we've got Three Fingers, One Eye, and Sawtooth, and they are, well, teenagers, really. They're being kept in this sanatorium because they are particularly naughty and they like to chomp on people. However, they mastermind an escape. They release all the other mental patients, take over the hospital, butcher everybody there, and then the film jumps forward 29 years, I think. And we meet a group of young people heading out into the snow to do some jet skiing on the snow, having fun, do all the things that young people do. And then, of course, they get lost, and then they come across this abandoned sanitarium where the three brothers are still dwelling. And it doesn't end well for them, as you can imagine. Right, what are my thoughts on Wrong Turn 4 Bloody Beginnings? Right, okay, this is my first time watch for this one. I have been reviewing the Wrong Turn franchise. I've always been quite a fan of the first one. I think it's a very, very competent horror film. Second one I watched for the first time a few weeks ago. Didn't enjoy that at all, really. Not really. Third one I thought was an improvement on what we got in the second one. So I was really hoping that they could continue the quality and maybe even improve on the third one with the fourth one. So did they manage to do that? No, not really. This one is not very good at all. I mean, the only thing that this has going for it really are the killings. They're particularly brutal and particularly graphic. But you could say that for all of them films, really. But impressive kills don't make for an impressive film. And I think for a lot of reasons this doesn't work. You just have to think about it, really. They go for the prequel angle. Now, I personally think they should have maybe stayed in 1974 or jumped forward maybe 10 years and we meet the brothers again. But no, it jumps forward 29 years, and if you do the maths, that is basically, it'll take you right up to the events of the first film. And in the first film, these three brothers clearly had been living in that shack for quite some time. Clearly, they'd been killing people for quite some time. And they clearly had a strong understanding of the surroundings they were in. So, according to this film, they were still in this sanitarium. Unless they were commuting to work, I don't know. So it just kind of craps all over what has come before. And to me, that just didn't make sense why you would honestly do that. And another thing as well, because we know the events of the first film and what happens, and we know some of these brothers don't make it. But also at the same time, we know that they make it to the events of the first film. So that kind of alleviates any tension, really, or any chance these bloody kids have got of taking any of them out, because we know they're not going to. So again, it removes tension. So you don't get really any of that here. You just get teenagers running around screaming, getting chopped up, munched on, whatever, making some of the most ridiculous decisions you're ever going to see in a horror film. Ever. they corner them and get them locked up. They lock them in this like cell. So they've got them. They've got them. They're like, great stuff. What shall we do now? Well, us 3 or 4, we're going to go off and do this. You stay here and watch them. And the same person who's staying there watching them was actually the only one that came up with a sensible idea. Let's kill him. Let's kill him now. He was about to do it and they stopped him. So, what would you do if you were guarding 3 homicidal cannibals in a cage? Would you go to sleep? No, neither would I. But he does. How do you think that ends for him? I mean, it's just littered with ridiculous decisions. And I'll be honest here now. In regards to this franchise, the first one, I didn't even know or realise that the killer in the second one and the third one was the same killer from the first film. You know, his brothers were killed. So it is the same killer. And again, if I hadn't have researched this a little bit, I mean, you do kind of figure it out because it's a prequel. But these don't feel anything like the characters that we met in the first film. Now, I could understand that when they were like teenagers in 1974 or whatever. But not to like 29 years later, they don't look anything like the characters in the first film. They don't even behave anything like the characters in the first film. And I think they had a real chance here to put a different twist on these characters. You know, about, you know, how they got to this sanitarium, you know, the terrible upbringing they might have had, mistreatment in the sanitarium, so on and so forth, you know, to kind of garner a different feeling towards them or something. But no, the writing is so bland here. It's just like, how can we get to the next kill? How can we make the next kill even gorier? They don't care about any real narrative or storytelling here. It doesn't even make sense in the timeline of its own franchise, for goodness sake. So, this didn't impress me at all, this one, unfortunately, guys. I thought it was a real letdown, especially when I had a genuine interest to check this one out after I thought the third one was, you know, decent enough. I mean, nothing special, but considering what I saw in the second one, it was certainly an improvement. Well, the quality's gone off a cliff again here, so I suspect it's a downward slide from here. But I will probably, you know me, I'll probably just continue to torture myself because, you know, I'm a prat sometimes. But I shall do it for your viewing pleasure, people. So stay tuned for more of these reviews, and I will, of course, be back with other content on the channel very, very soon.